Hello, I'm Naganandini and this is Sudipta Dasgupta. We both work in the Frugal Design Lab at Srishti and today we are presenting this paper which is called The Future is Frugal. Being frugal and thrifty was considered a positive value all over the world until it was overthrown by consumerism. Frugality can be seen as miserliness, as a last resort in the face of ecological disaster, or more positively, as a lack of clutter, as a calm and beautiful quality, as discernment and restraint. We have been influenced by several people in our journey. One of them is Gandhi, who proposed many future forward ideas, and the concept of Swadeshi or self dependence is particularly relevant today. Swadeshi, or the use of locally made in the context of production, came at a time when industrial production was rapidly killing the handmade in India and the rest of the colonized world. The other inspiration has been Buckminster Fuller, who in his book, The Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, says, "We have discovered that it is highly feasible for all human passengers aboard Spaceship Earth to enjoy the whole ship without any individual interfering with one another, providing we are not so foolish as to burn up our ship." He coined the word tensegrity, which is tension and integrity, and refers to the relationship and balance between tension, tightness or tautness, and compression, a force that shortens or squeezes something in a structure. Integrity stands for making the strongest structure with the least material.
As a philosophy, frugal could mean making individual and focused choices that are not influenced or guided by wisdom of mainstream market forces and cultures that claim to know what's good for us. In mainstream industry, frugal is understood as reducing complexity or removing features that are not needed, or in the first world market or mass market, removing of some of its frills. There are numerous examples of frugal design and frugal innovation coming from the grassroots, like the Jaipur Foot, uh, which is a low-cost rubber-based prosthetic leg for people below with below-knee amputation, and has helped many people to overcome their leg disability. Frugality could be defined as a value where we are prudent and careful with any kind of resource, be it money, be it material, technology, or time. Not because we have to, but we want to.
And now we try and define design. Design deals with multiple dimensions of logic that often compete for attention. And as we create, we privilege one over the other to give ourselves direction and meaning. Some of these dimensions are formal or semantic, functional, material, emotional, systemic, and much more. And design becomes an optimization, and depending on our beliefs and the people we design for, we may decide to put one quality on top. So, can frugal be this one quality? In 1958, Charles and Ray Eames made recommendations for design through the India Design Report. And they asked the question, in a country that faces the food, shelter, and distribution problems that India does, should we take a closer look at things that constitute a standard of living in India? They speak of the Lota as being the perfect example of good design and hope that design can appraise and solve problems of our coming times with the same tremendous service, dignity, and love that the Lota served in its time.
In India, frugality is something which we have always valued. Traditionally, we have been careful with our resources and assigned more than monetary value to the things which we used. We have a rich culture in repair and reuse, supported by availability of skilled people to mend just about everything. A good example of this are Rafugars, who darn tears in fabrics so finely and invisibly that they are really artists who have saved a beloved garment. We can also see this kind of frugality in small workshops all over India, where people do a lot with very little. Practices are inherently frugal and have been part of our everyday life in India for a long time. As the gap between markets and customers physically grew, customers had no idea what they were buying, and the artisans had no idea who was buying their products.
Industry and society has organized our lives so that consumption and extravagance are seen positively and frugality is seen as miserliness. We don't often see the whole picture. So water comes from a tap, excreta disappear into the toilet, and milk is delivered in a packet. Where does the water come from? What happens to the excreta are edited out of the picture. Who makes our things? There was a time when the baker delivered your bread, when you chatted with the cobbler as you ordered your shoes, and the carpenter came home to build a chair. Today, all our things come in a box, and we have no idea how or who made them. Industry focuses on the unboxing experience. What problems are we solving? Are these even problems? Much research goes into developing new technologies, and every year our gadgets get smaller, more efficient, and cheaper. And to pay for the cost of this development, companies need to sell more, we have to buy more, and discard more. Ivan Illich talks of the consumer society where there are invariably two kinds of slaves, the prisoner of addiction and the prisoner of envy. And how do we find freedom from this slavery? The Frugal Design Studio has been working for 8 years at Srishti on projects that revolve around how we use resources. There has been an influence of Frugal on our curriculum. I quote KG Subramaniam, who says, so a way of doing leads us to a way of seeing, and a way of seeing to a way of doing. We reworked our new program, the Industrial Arts and Design Practices in 2015, and we shifted the emphasis from a user market led approach to making as a tool of thinking as a way of learning and conceptualizing. Working firsthand with people who make is an important way to becoming a more conscious designer. Hands-on making develops respect for materials, for people and skills, and could close the loop between thinking and making more frugally.
Through projects, we create collaboration with NGOs, communities, faculty, and students to find answers to questions on frugality and the various ways it is present in today's bludgeoning urban world. One of them is about vulnerable communities, as described by one of our collaborators, Selco Foundation. There are large communities living in pockets in the heart of growing cities in our country who are denied basic rights of urban welfare because they do not possess proof of residency. They are commonly called squatters or encroachers who are brought into the cities by the truckload to work in human hours and labor for a pittance. They cannot get electricity connection or access to ration shops as they have no papers. So Stelco works with such communities. Inventing Green was one of the projects where we tried to substitute mainstream material like plastic and metal with natural material and craft community based skills. Familiar process, unfamiliar terrain was a project to understand the vulnerability of the fishing communities of Udupi, Karnataka. International Design Summer Schools uh, was a was a collaborative research lab where students from China, India, and Switzerland explored frugal design. Behind fences was a longer workshop on done with Syrian refugees in Germany uh, to explore what design can do for people on the run, shelterless, and without resources. Frugal design potential of the thrifty was a research project realized by the design department of Zurich University in collaboration with Srishti and Selco Foundation.
Working with artisanal communities to document, map, develop new products, learn and explore is something we value. This project was a collaborative one between students of Srishti and artisans of Valmiki Dome in North Bihar, which is an extremely remote community. They wove baskets using the moonj grass growing there and have never sold before. And this was craft in its purest form. And this was the perfect example of the circular economy where the raw material grew wild, the tools were minimal and made by blacksmiths, the baskets were exchanged, and older baskets were not discarded but used to feed cattle, eventually going back to the earth. The women were extremely proud of their skills, and much as we tried to simplify the patterns, insisted that they were too proud to allow a hastily made basket to leave the valley. And here was frugality in practice and extravagance and abundance in spirit. These are some of the outcomes of that project. There are some starting points to a more frugal future that we have understood through all the projects we have done. Some of them are modularity. What if products were designed to be modular so that one part is damaged or old? The defective part could easily be replaced. What can the designer do to encourage the do it yourself movement to make it easier for non technical people to make their own products? With emerging additive technologies, products could possibly be made in smaller and more local workshops instead of large factories. And can we increase value by combining the handmade with high technology?
We are supposedly on the brink of the fourth industrial revolution, characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres. In the world of Klaus Schwab, founder of World Economic Forum. Revisiting the artisanal context, the maker works and lives in the same space, not separating them physically or mentally. We have lost this to the current production economy, which does not just separate private and work time and space. It also separates the way we think and internalize. Can frugality move out of the confines of a practice or academic definition and spread beyond the disciplinary domain to a more holistic state of being?
In the design process, can we question what are needs and what are frills? There are more complex definitions where frugality could also be open to interpretation, going beyond material optimization. We can choose to be careful and conscious of what we make. We can design products that people really need and want in small numbers, customized, products that are thoughtful and add meaning to our lives. We can choose to combine old and new technologies, include our artisan, and be more creative in production so that products carry forward some of the magic of their origins in thought and in making.
Thank you.
Thank you.